Hello, good evening. It's Julia here, going live from my kitchen on day 25 of 365 days of my Facebook marathon. So so single mum entrepreneur here, coming to you from a very windy and rainy and kind of storm hit Surrey. I think we've got Storm Dennis, who's battering the towns and so on at the moment. So it's pretty sort of howling a gale out there. So I'm really glad I'm inside. I just wanted to stay warm and cosy. So anyway, I just thought I'd hop on and talk a little bit about being single. So yesterday I talked about the whole self-love thing and mentioned that today is Singles Appreciation Day or Singles Awareness Day. I prefer Singles Appreciation Day actually rather than awareness. It's almost like you're not aware of people who are single. You're not aware that there are single people in the world. It's sort of a bit weird. Anyway, so Singles Appreciation Day I think is much nicer. So I thought I'd just hop on and just go through a few things. I've got a little list here of why I like being single. Now, bearing in mind, other people may feel differently. Other people may, for the reasons that I like being single, other people might think, well, I'm in a relationship and I feel like that and so on. So, but this is just my kind of personal list and how I feel personally. And some people may identify, others might think, what is she on about? But that's fine. So I was kind of, been reflecting today about the fact that, I feel, obviously I've got a very busy life as a single parent. And so, I still obviously have quite a few restrictions on my life because of the age of my children. I'm a single mum, etc. But what I've really come to feel, which I started kind of talking about last night, was that I don't need a partner to live my best life. And I think the way I feel, unless some love strikes me out the blue, I can imagine that I will feel that for quite a long time, because I've got to a point where I'm just incredibly happy with who I am. And of course there are things that I want to change. Of course I would like to do this or that, or be able to have a holiday every year, or just there are just some things for me, for relaxation. I'd like to do more things with the kids and so on, and of course there are little things here that I want to change. And there's a kind of probably first world problems, to be honest, but in terms of how I feel, I'm very happy with how things are. And like I said, I don't feel like I need a partner to live my best life. And I feel like I'm on the way to, and you can live your best life every day, let's face it, can't you? I mean, you can, there's a way to live your best life every day, and it's not necessarily, it's all attached with happiness and gratitude and friendship and so on. It's not necessarily attached to money. So anyway, so I'm a little list, and I thought, what do I like about being single? Do I find I really like? And some of it's linked to these things that I haven't had in the past in previous relationships. But kind of top of the list was that I put, I have the freedom to improve my relationship with myself and focus on what makes me happy. And that's not selfish in any way. I've just found that, and I'm sure that people will identify with this, that all too often we get so caught up in the relationship with the other person. We get so focused on making sure that they're happy. And, rightly, there's nothing wrong with wanting to make your partner or wife, husband, partner, whatever, happy. But sometimes it comes at the expense of making yourself happy, doesn't it? And I have definitely experienced that. So I've been able to get to know myself a lot better through being single and understanding really more what makes me tick and really what does make me happy. And I've started doing this thing where I get up in the morning, and this sounds a bit odd, but I get up in the morning, and when I go into the mirror and I look at myself and I go, you are brilliant and I absolutely love you, and sometimes it makes me feel quite emotional, because I'm telling myself in the mirror that I love myself. And I say that because I know that I've got faults. I know that there are things that I could do better. I know that I've made mistakes. you know, and I know all of these things, but I still have to look in the mirror and say, you know, Julia, I love you because you are just bloody brilliant. So, you know, so I can do that without anybody thinking, is she mad? Is my missus mad? You know, so that was the first thing, the freedom to improve my relationship with myself and nurture that self-love, which I'd never been able to do in the past. I really hadn't. I kind of completely lost touch with myself and really what made me happy, not what made another person happy. Another thing was money. Now, it's a bit of a double-edged sword because, of course, it is nice if you're in a relationship and you're both earning, for example, you're both bringing the money in. But at the same time, I like the fact that, you know, for me, and like I said, this is a personal list about why I like being single. You know, I can spend, hello, whoever's watching, and I can spend my money, the money that I earn, on my children and myself or my, you know, family or friends, whatever. You know, I can spend my money however I want. You know, I don't have to consult anybody else. And I know a lot of people have relationships where they have the joint money and then they each have their own pot, and that's great because I think having your own money is absolutely crucial. I used to find it very difficult when I was married before, when it was like, you know, having a joint account and say, oh, how much did you draw out? Oh, no, I've only drawn the, you know, I can't cope with all of that. So I really like the fact that I can, yeah, I'm just completely in control of the finances. And like I said, double-edged sword, because yes, sometimes it is quite a huge pressure when you're doing, you know, you're doing it on your own as a single parent. But at the same time, I like that. I like the fact that I don't have to worry. I don't, you know, and I think all women do, you know, you will kind of hide things away. And you say, oh, I've had that ages. I can't, tell me one woman who has never done that. I just don't believe it. Who's hidden purchases away. I don't have to hide any purchases away now, only if they're Christmas presents for the kids and I have to stash them for Santa. But yeah, so I don't have to worry about the money side. And then the next step, I get to lounge around brazenly in my PJs without any makeup. And now, of course, you may be in a wonderful relationship where you feel totally completely comfortable to do that. But I've always felt a certain amount of pressure because I've always wanted to look nice, and you know, and if I've had a zit, I wanted to cover it up or whatever. You know, it's just. But I just kind of feel, you know, it goes much deeper than that. It's about the fact that nobody's going to say to me, "Oh, are you going to get dressed?" or something. You know, because it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I can have with the kids if I'm not, you know, working and take a little bit of, you know, a couple of hours off. I can have duvet time with the kids and watching a movie, and nobody's going to encroach on that, and I can just lounge around with, you know, looking as messy as I like, you know, looking really kind of and it doesn't matter because I don't need to impress anyone. And at one time, you know, I would have thought, oh gosh, that's quite sad, but now I don't mind at all. So that's the next thing. Next thing I've put, the Sky remote control isn't shared. Big bonus. Now that I find is huge for me, absolutely huge, because I've had relationships before where I've been, you know, it's really a case of, oh, I don't want to watch that. Or what do you want to watch? Well, I fancy this, or I don't fancy that. And unless you're with somebody who you absolutely are totally in tune, you both love the same movies, then that's great. But I mean, for me, you know, the ability to be able to watch the Star Wars movies an unlimited amount of times is just an absolute dream, because of course not everybody likes Star Wars, and the ability to be able to watch, as because I love Star Wars, I love Marvel and Harry Potter and so on, and so Star Wars is up there as my kind of first love. And I was around when the first episode 4 came out, when A New Hope came out. So yeah, the ability to just be in total control of the Sky remotes, because of course I have jurisdiction of that over my children. But we you know, obviously we watch age appropriate stuff when we're together, you know, but I like that. I like that. In the past I've had to fight over who's watching what, and oh, I don't want to watch that, why are you watching that, and I'd have to do that. So I think that's lovely. So Sky remote control isn't shared for me. Big bonus about being single. And also another thing is I'm quite silly. I'm quite silly, and the kids and I noticed when we moved into this place 7 years ago, the first thing we felt was this sense of freedom to just really be ourselves, which we hadn't been able to be ourselves for a long time. And obviously they were very young, but as they started getting a bit older, they were like 5, 6 or whatever, we loved doing kind of silly dances around the kitchen, and just being generally quite silly. And some of the three of us, we do, we sometimes are hooting with laughter, we do silly voices, we do all, this kind of stuff. And, maybe there's, people would say, well, I'm in a really happy marriage and we do stuff like that. And that's brilliant. So as I said, I'm not saying that people don't do this when they're in a relationship. I'm just saying that for me, that freedom to be, my silly self is just, without needing to keep up appearances, has just been brilliant. I love that. So that was the next thing. So next thing was for me was sleeping alone. This is one of the great virtues, the great unsung virtues of being single. Have to say. I mean, apart from the fact if one of my kids used to creep into the bed, slightly different. When they were little, and sometimes my daughter does have a bad dream, she'll come and cuddle up. Aside from that, because that's absolutely no problem at all, I love having the bed, stretching out in the bed to myself, nobody snoring, nobody nicking the covers, nobody, I'm 6 foot tall, so I'm a tall bird, being able to just stretch out, and it's just, like I said, sleeping alone, one of the greatest virtues of being single, I have to say. And I guess anybody who's, sort of married or in a relationship and their other half has gone away, they will understand that, I bet, because just for that short amount of time when they're temporarily alone, I bet they loved being in the bed on their own. I really do. I dare anybody to put in the comments to say that they were really lonely having this big bed all to themselves. So the next thing I've put, I have a much wider social and friendship circle. Now, I think it's really, I mean, obviously you can still have those things when you're one part of a couple, but I find that because I'm on my own, there are no restrictions really for me, and I've been able to deepen and broaden the friendships that I have, because I've not necessarily, I mean, of course I do spend a lot of time at home, but I haven't been pouring the energies into a relationship with, another adult. So I've been able to kind of really focus on the value, the importance, and how precious my friendships are. So yeah, for me that has been a big bonus of being single. And then I've also put, bear with me here, I save money. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? I mean, obviously I've got 2 children, so I don't save that much money. But I was thinking about this last night when it was Valentine's Day, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, the amount of money and everybody this all gets sucked into the consumerism of Valentine's Day. All the money that's spent, seriously, all the money that's spent, and I don't have to spend that money. It's joyous. It's joyous. And of course, when it comes to Mother's Day, then I don't necessarily, my kids do. My mum and my kids buy something for me, which is fine. But I just think, it's generally, I don't have those. So that's a very practical element of being single, which I actually like. Like I said, some people might think, gosh, that's quite sad, but for me, it's not. So the last one I put, no petty arguments or bickering, and then with a little caveat, except those between my son and daughter, of course, siblings bickering, which drives me insane. But anyway, I know all couples bicker. And in some ways that's healthy, or they'll all sort of argue or disagree. Of course that's healthy, you're different individuals, you're different human beings. But I suppose because of the negativity that I've experienced in the past and the extreme arguments and conflicts that I've been involved in and been, borne the brunt of, I find that having this kind of bicker-free life is really, I love it. I love it. And like I said, largely with this list, is based on my personal journey and what I've experienced in relationships. And so I suppose in a way the negatives have impacted how I feel now. But ultimately, I do love not having those petty arguments or those petty disagreements, which are just so draining and just, so trivial, really. And I know you've got to clear the air. You know, the air has got to be cleared. And like I said, couples, you're never going to agree 100%. But petty sort of bickering is something that really gets to me. Really, I find so draining. And since I've been single, I don't have that. So going back to my list, I think I had 9 things. I was trying to think of a 10th, but then I thought, no, I'll settle on nine things. So going through all those 9 things, you know, I have the freedom to improve my relationship with myself and focus on what makes me happy. And of course, I'm focusing on what makes my kids happy, but that's different. They're my children. You know, I can spend my money on my kids and myself, on my friends, without consulting anyone else. I get to lounge around brazenly in my PJs without any makeup, looking a right old state if I feel like it. You know, I don't have to share the remote control. I can watch what I like. I can be as silly as I want. I get this great kick out of sleeping alone and being cosy with all that space in the bed, with my 6-foot, you know, frame, taking my long arms and legs spreading over the bed. And I really have deepened and widened my network of friends and my friendships. I've invested very much more time in my friendships because of being single. I've saved money. And I've avoided those petty bickering kind of frosty arguments where you then go to bed at night and, you know, people say don't let the sun set on your anger. Well, I don't have to. Because I did plenty of that in the past. I don't have to do it anymore. So that was it. That was my list. I hope you liked that, and I hope it's helped you get to know me a little bit more as well. But like I said, this was my conclusion of, you know, I don't need a partner to live my best life. So maybe you can think about what helps you live your best life. And I'm not advocating that everybody should be partnerless in order to live their best life. But I think what I'm trying to get across is that on Singles Appreciation Day, you know, I find so many ways to appreciate being single and feeling really good about it. So in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of the evening wherever you are in the world. Thank you for watching. It'd be great if you could make a little comment or love or like my video. And if you watch it later, then just please put #replay in the comments. I'm sorry if you've just joined that I'm about to sign off, so watch it again. But in the meantime, I will see you on day 26 of my Facebook Live Marathon tomorrow. And have a great evening, whatever you're up to. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.